Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to look at how to find the domain of a function in more advanced cases. So if in the previous lesson we focused on the basic rules, in this lesson we are going to look at situations where we need to combine more than one condition at the same time. If you have not watched the first video, I do recommend starting from that one first, because in this lesson we will build on those two rules and apply them to more complex exam-style examples. In particular, we are going to look at examples with roots, denominators, roots and denominators, and expressions where different conditions need to be combined carefully. So let's begin with a quick recap. Rule number 1. If x appears in a denominator, the denominator must be different from 0. This is because division by 0 is undefined, so those values must be excluded from the domain. Rule number 2. If x appears inside a root with an even index, the expression under the root must be greater than or equal to 0. This is because an even root of a negative number is not a real number. And remember, if the root has an odd index, for example a cube root, then there is no restriction. So this second rule only applies to roots with an even index. Now let's go straight into the examples. Let's start with example 1. We have f of x equals the square root of x minus 1, all over x squared plus 2. Here we need both rules because we have both a denominator and a square root. So in step 1, we impose the two conditions. The denominator must be different from 0, so x squared plus 2 is not equal to 0, and the expression under the root must be greater than or equal to 0. So x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Now we solve them. From the first condition, we move the 2 to the right-hand side and we get x squared is not equal to negative 2. From the second condition, we move the negative 1 to the right-hand side and we get x is greater than or equal to 1. Now let's look carefully at the first condition. When is a square, like x squared, not equal to a negative number? Always. A square is never negative, so x squared is always different from negative 2. That means this first condition is always true. So although we were right to impose it, it does not create any restriction on the domain. Since this condition is always true, we can remove it, and we are left only with the second restriction. X is greater than or equal to 1. Now let's write the domain. The domain is x belongs to the real numbers, such that x is greater than or equal to 1. We can also write this in interval notation as from 1 to positive infinity, including 1. Now let's move to example 2. We have f of x equals x squared minus 3, all over the square root of x squared minus 8x plus 15. Here again we have a denominator and a square root, so we impose both conditions. The denominator must be different from 0, so we write the square root of x squared minus 8x plus 15 is not equal to 0, and the expression under the root must be greater than or equal to 0. So we write x squared minus 8x plus 15 is greater than or equal to 0. Now let's simplify the first condition. A square root is different from 0 exactly when the expression under the root is different from 0. So the first condition becomes x squared minus 8x plus 15 is not equal to 0. The second condition stays x squared minus 8x plus 15 is greater than or equal to 0. Now we combine the two conditions. One says the expression must be different from 0. The other says it must be greater than or equal to 0. So if both must be satisfied at the same time, we get x squared minus 8x plus 15 is strictly greater than 0. Now we need to solve this. This is a second-degree inequality. To solve it, we first write the associated equation, which means we take the same expression, but replace the inequality sign with an equal sign. X squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. This is a second-degree equation, and since we also have the x term, we use the quadratic formula to solve it. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Here, a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant term. Now let's identify them. There is no number written in front of x squared, so the coefficient is implicitly 1. So a is 1, b is negative 8, and c is 15. Be very careful with b. b is negative 8, not just 8. Now we substitute into the formula. X equals negative open bracket, negative 8, close bracket, plus or minus the square root of open bracket, negative 8 close bracket squared, minus 4 times 1 times 15, all over 2 times 1. Now we simplify step by step. Negative 8 becomes positive 8. Negative 8 squared is 64, and negative 4 times 1 times 15 is negative 60. So we get x equals 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 60 all over 2. That gives x equals 8 plus or minus the square root of 4 all over 2. The square root of 4 is 2. So x equals 8 plus or minus 2 all over 2. Now we find the two solutions. 8 minus 2 is 6, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. 8 plus 2 is 10, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the two solutions are x equals 3 and x equals 5. Most students stop here. That's the mistake. These are the solutions of the equation, not yet the solution of the inequality. We now need to find where x squared minus 8x plus 15 is greater than 0. To do this, we use a simple diagram. The expression x squared minus 8x plus 15 represents a parabola. First, we look at the coefficient of x squared. If it is positive, the parabola opens upwards. If it is negative, it opens downwards. Here, the coefficient is 1, so positive, and the parabola opens upwards. Now we draw a number line and place the two solutions in order. 3, then 5. These are exactly the points where the parabola crosses the x-axis. Now the expression is positive where the parabola is above the x-axis, and negative where it is below. Looking at the diagram, the parabola is above the x-axis to the left of 3 and to the right of 5, and it is below the x-axis between 3 and 5. So the solution of the inequality is x less than 3 or x greater than 5. Now we can write the domain. The domain is x belongs to the real numbers, such that x is less than 3 or x is greater than 5. We can also write this in interval notation as from negative infinity to 3, union from 5 to positive infinity. Now let's move to example 3. We have f of x equals the square root of x plus 4 all over the cube root of x squared minus 36. Here again we have a denominator and a root. So we apply both rules. The denominator must be different from 0, so we write the cube root of x squared minus 36 is not equal to 0, and the expression under the square root must be greater than or equal to 0, so we write x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. Now we solve the two conditions. From the first condition, a cube root is equal to 0 when its argument is equal to 0. So it is different from 0 when the argument is different from 0. So we get x squared minus 36 is not equal to 0. From the second condition, we move the 4 to the right-hand side and we get x is greater than or equal to negative 4. Now we continue with the first condition. X squared minus 36 is not equal to 0, so x squared is not equal to 36. Now we take the square root. And remember, when we take the square root, we must include plus or minus. So we get x is not equal to plus or minus 6. Now we have all the key values, negative 6, negative 4, and 6. Now we combine the conditions. To do this, we draw a number line and write the values in order. Negative 6, negative 4, 6. Now let's interpret the conditions. The first condition says, all real values are allowed except negative 6 and 6. The second condition says, x must be greater than or equal to negative 4. Now we look at where both conditions are satisfied at the same time. From negative 4 onwards, all values are allowed except 6. So now we can write the domain. The domain is x belongs to the real numbers, such that x is greater than or equal to negative 4 and x is not equal to 6. We can also write this in interval notation as from negative 4 to 6, with 6 excluded, union from 6 to positive infinity. Now let's move to example 4. We have f of x equals the square root of the fraction x minus 3 over x plus 2. Here the entire fraction is under the square root, so again, we apply both rules. The denominator must be different from 0, so we write x plus 2 is not equal to 0, and the expression under the square root must be greater than or equal to 0, so we write x minus 3 over x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. Now we solve the first condition. We move the 2 to the right-hand side and we get x is not equal to -2. Now we focus on the second condition. This is a fractional inequality. To solve it, we proceed step by step. First, we study when the numerator is greater than or equal to 0. So, x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0, which gives x is greater than or equal to 3. Second, we study when the denominator is strictly greater than 0. So, x plus 2 is greater than 0, which gives x is greater than -2. Now we want to combine these two conditions. To do this, we use a sign table. First, we draw a number line and we place the values we found in increasing order. So we have -2 and 3. These values divide the number line into 3 intervals. Now we analyze each part step by step. We start with the numerator. We found that the numerator is greater than or equal to 0 when x is greater than or equal to 3. So it is negative before 3 and positive from 3 onwards. Now we look at the denominator. We found that the denominator is greater than 0 when x is greater than -2. So it is negative before -2 and positive after -2. Before combining, remember this key idea. If numerator and denominator have the same sign, the fraction is positive. If they have different signs, the fraction is negative. Now we combine the signs. In the first interval before -2, the numerator is negative and the denominator is negative, so the fraction is positive. Between -2 and 3, the numerator is still negative, but the denominator is positive, so the fraction is negative. After 3, both numerator and denominator are positive, so the fraction is positive. Now we go back to the original inequality. We are looking for where the fraction is greater than or equal to 0. So we take the intervals where the fraction is positive, that is, x less than -2 or x greater than or equal to 3. Now we go back to the domain. We had x not equal to -2 and x less than -2 or x greater than or equal to 3. Now we need to combine these conditions. To do this, we draw a number line. The key values we have are -2 and 3. We place them in increasing order, -2, then 3. Now we represent the first condition. The first condition tells us that the function is defined for all real numbers except -2. So we draw a line that covers all values and we place an open circle at -2 to show it is excluded. Now we represent the second condition. The second condition tells us that x is less than -2 or greater than or equal to 3. Now we look at where both conditions are satisfied at the same time. We take only the parts where the two conditions overlap. So we get x less than -2 or x greater than or equal to 3. Now let's write the domain. The domain is x belongs to the real numbers, such that x is less than -2 or x is greater than or equal to 3. We can also write this in interval notation as from -infinity to -2, union from 3 to +infinity. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and try to find the domain of this function on your own. Then press play and check your answer. Let's go through it together. We apply the two rules. The denominator must be different from 0, and the expression under the root must be greater than or equal to 0. So we get x minus 3 is not equal to 0 and x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 0. From the first condition, x is not equal to 3. From the second, x is greater than or equal to 2. Now we combine them. We draw a number line and place the key values, 2 and 3. The first condition allows all values except 3. The second condition allows values greater than or equal to 2. Now we look where both are satisfied. So the domain is x belongs to the real numbers, such that x is greater than or equal to 2 and x is not equal to 3. Or in interval notation, from 2 to 3, excluding 3, union from 3 to +infinity. So in this video, we've looked at more advanced domain problems. The key idea is that when you have more than one condition, you need to satisfy all of them at the same time. And this is exactly where most mistakes happen. So if you're finding this difficult, that's completely normal. Go back, try the examples again, and make sure you understand each step, not just follow it. I hope this video helped you. See you in the next one.